Get off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA AM 1050 FM 106.5, NBC News Radio, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. The station that leaves no listener behind, and the home for yours truly, the Asian Oprah. I was actually introduced to Oprah as the Asian Oprah years ago by my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith. And this is a show about hope and happiness. So if you are here thinking you're going to hear about what's in the headlines, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen, because there are plenty of places to argue and get upset and hear about the horrible things that are happening around you. I like to balance all that out with talking and having guests and thinking about and learning things that are good with life, good with the world, good with you, and good with me. And that's, I'm so grateful that those who said that I wouldn't last more than a year were wrong. This is my 656th consecutive week on the air, on camera. And let's see, that's 12.8 years. May will be 13. I have no intention of stopping. And so I'm glad that you're here. If you're driving right now listening to the AM FM side, please do not chat with me. But once you get landed somewhere, go to my free subscribe YouTube TV channel that houses all 1,176. Yes, that's it's not on my scroller for a change. Let me change that. But I am so delighted that you're here. And Mental Health Mondays is a special series that I like to have, because, let's see, let's just do this. Number 1276 podcast show. I like to save Mondays for myself. You have people in my studio, you know, my co-hosts, you know, my guests. Tomorrow we have a great guest. He is, I call him my instrument. He's an instrument in and of himself. His name's Jamie Lula. Those of you who enjoyed his rendition of Imagine yesterday on stage at the Agape International Spiritual Center will be delighted to know that he's coming live in studio tomorrow. But Mondays I keep for myself. Not because I like to hear myself speak. I know some of you think I do, but honestly, I do enjoy being able to share things that I know are working in my life to keep me happy, to keep me claiming my birthright to happiness, to be happy 88% of the time. And that on Mondays is when I share that with you. And that's been my special series for about a year now. So we keep things going as they are working. So that's the topic today. But before we get into the topic, you know, I like to start every show with a good life habit, a hashtag Blisscipline, called taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich for breakfast. So you're going to have breakfast with me. Didn't know that. If you're new here, if you're not new here, you know that that's how I start every show every weekday morning as host producer of the morning show here. So here we go. The top of the button is things outside of ourselves, as specific as possible, that we're grateful for. And the bottom of the button is what you're going to do before you go to bed tonight. So it is things that you're grateful for, but inside of yourself. What do you appreciate about yourself? And that way you'll get a good night's sleep instead of thinking about who done me wrong, you know, what I didn't get done, who's doing what. A surefire way to not get a good night's sleep is to MS, meaningless scrolling, or worse, doom scrolling, as they call it, because most of the things that you're going to land on, except my feed, are going to be pretty negative. But if you want something positive, I got the best compliment yesterday. And I've had this compliment before, and I appreciate, you know who you are, that when they're not feeling good, if something's happened, they're ruin making in their heads, they come to Doc Balance on Instagram, or Dr. Marissa on Facebook and LinkedIn, or Dr. Marissa Happy 88 on TikTok, and they know they're going to find something to smile at. It's my job to post things that align with my mission, Happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. So, top of the bun, what are you grateful for? I'm grateful for the pandemic because it has normalized the ability to work from home, the ability to do many things from home, so that you can spend less time in traffic and more time doing things that you enjoy. Although I do love driving and I make the most out of every drive, but I know that some people, it is 2 hours each way is really not great use of your time unless you're doing audiobooks or podcasts. I listen to Abraham Hicks when I'm driving. So I digress. The gratitude was the pandemic for its normalization of being able to do things with technology more so than we thought beforehand. Although there is nothing better than face-to-face. I am grateful for this holiday season. I do love Thanksgiving, giving thanks. It's one of my favorite holidays. Besides, my first is April Fool's. Those of you who've known me for a while know that. But then Thanksgiving is a very close second. It is a season, the entrance into the season of joy. I am grateful that I get to look at the Queen Mary every morning outside my window and remind myself of the plethora of experiences that I've had. I came over when I was 4 years old from London, England to New York on the Queen Mary. And I am grateful for all incredible experiences that I've had growing up, because my dad was a professor. And so we would go every 4 to 6 years to somewhere in the world to live. And I think that definitely birthed my love for travel. Finally, my gratitude is for Agape, 38 years strong. It's where I get my positive roots watered, my peace of mind, PEACE, fertilized, and founded by Michael Bernard Beckwith, my big brother. We had our 38th year birthday celebration yesterday. I'm so grateful for this place that doesn't create followers. It creates leaders that go out and I'm a light. And the way I look is just a lampshade. So that was what I got out of yesterday's talk. And I know I have a lot of people who listen and watch me that are from Agape, and appreciate so much the love and support that you give me too. All right, bottom of the bun, which is gratitude turned inwards. What do you like about yourself? This is purposeful, me making you work out, because it's not easy to toot your own horn. You're told not to. It's not easy to like yourself. It's not easy to say what you like about yourself, whether it's cultural upbringing or abuse that you've had and been told that you're not all that. Whatever it is, it makes for a pretty rocky adulthood if you do not know who you are, the greatness that you are, not the perfectness, because 88% of the time I'm fabulous. 12% of the time I step in it. Don't like stepping in it. It smells. It's hard to get the gunk off my shoe, but that is humanity. I'm real. I'm vulnerable. I'm imperfect. And so those times I don't like, but my job is not to focus on the 12% of the time, but to focus on the good that I am. And when I do, I'm less likely to look with antenna up for love in the wrong places, whether it is in another person or worse yet, on social media, literally looking for likes, which goes up and down, and numbers mean nothing because every single person I know who has big numbers buys them. So that's why I'm definitely happy that I don't buy them. And I'm not for everybody. Everybody's not for everybody. And the more that people understand that everybody has a unique talent, gift, and ability, and nobody has all the answers, and you're a bright light yourself, and you can make a contribution to your life in the best way possible, then we're going to have less what do you want to call it? Less preoccupation with people, places, and things that really don't matter. I know that's a hard sell, but anyways, not that I don't love, people with talent. Oh, I'll do an additional gratitude. I got to go with my BFF, Anne-Marie, to see a brilliant movie this weekend. I know that I'm not alone. Like, so many people went to see it, but Wicked is definitely something that will make your heart sing, and it definitely touched heartstrings. Director John Cho, hashtag Asian Pride, did an amazing job. Ariana Grande, new respect for her. I love her voice. I really was so delighted when I heard her do impressions. I think it was on one of the Jimmy shows, and but watching her doing, this is not a spoiler because the song Popular, but when she did that was a brilliant and amazing. And Cynthia, Lord, when I talk about someone who, the first time I heard her name, actually, I didn't remember her from Color Purple. Sorry. But when she got so much crap from doing Harriet because they wanted American, but she delivered in Harriet, but I didn't even realize she sang. And so she has roots on Broadway and didn't know that. I love looking up talent that I wasn't aware of, and she blew it out of the water. So, it just is another, I love it when critics are put in their place. And so there you go. She definitely has so much talent. So anyways, go see that. That's a Monday movie review, which is a little sideline on my Mondays. But let's go to the bottom of the bun so we can close out breakfast and get to the topic at hand, which, if you didn't know, is home for the holidays, no blues is the topic for this morning show. Yes, it's Monday, but it's not. Rainy days and Mondays always get me up. Hashtag UP, hashtag unlimited possibilities. Bottom of the bun. What do I like about myself? I like that I can break into song whenever I feel like it. And my voice isn't for everyone. I'm not going to go there. But I appreciate my ability to just do it. A gospel according to Nike. I appreciate my ability to be motivating. I love motivating and inspiring those who have their ear on me or have their eyeballs on me, because it feels so good to see light going on in eyes. It feels so good to have people say thank you for helping me feel better. That's always a nice compliment. But I appreciate and bake my own cake knowing that 88% of the time I am motivating. 12% of the time I'm not. I am appreciative of my ability to not dwell. Let's see, what's the opposite of not dwelling? Is to positively focus. So when things happen in my life that I am not thrilled about, and right now there are 1, 2, 3 major things that I do not like thinking about. So my specialty, my secret weapon is the ability to not dwell and focus on something else, focus on something that makes me feel better. And it is a skill. It takes some practice. So one of the things that I have a deal with Anne Marie is she is good about saying you cannot just not talk about it at all. You have to talk about it with one person. That's my tool, vent partnering. So I tell her how I'm feeling. She makes it okay that if I'm feeling hurt, which I hate admitting, or sad, which I hate admitting, but I have to, so that I let it go. And then I don't talk about it again. I appreciate my ability to be disciplined that way, because the more I complain about something that I cannot change, that I do not like, the worse it's going to get. And the law of attraction, just like the law of gravity, even though Cynthia can defy gravity, we cannot defy gravity, and we cannot defy the law of attraction. The more you focus on something, even if it's bad, the bigger it gets. So I appreciate my ability to focus out of things that don't make me feel good. And that's it for the bottom of the bun, things that I like about myself. Hopefully, now or later, when you're listening or watching, even better, you will be able to list those things or talk about those things that you like about yourself, because that's, I believe, my BS, my belief system is that is the foundation of good mental health. And it is Mental Health Monday Matters. So good time to remind you of that. And that is Breakfast with me, Dr. Marissa, on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, the station that leaves no listener behind. We're going to be right back in 2 and 2. And as I'm doing this, my heart goes out, taking a deep breath and releasing it to the originator of 2 and 2. Chuck Woolery just passed. He's on the other side. We all come from love. We all go back to love. I know he's having a great time wherever he is now. He's still, his wit, his story is still with us. Those of you who read up on, he was the original Wheel of Fortune host before Pat Sajak. The unfortunate thing was, the reason why it was not him was he had a huge argument with Mr. Griffith. And it's sad to hear that they never spoke again after all of that. But, you know, Chuck Woolery did not let that get in his way. Both of them are very successful. Chuck Woolery became known for his "We'll Be Back in 2 and 2" on Love Connection. I've been saying the dating game or the newlywed game. I was getting mixed up with Bob Eubanks, who I got to meet, by the way. Beautiful man. But Chuck Woolery is the one who did 2 and 2 on Love Connection. I had this thought that maybe we'll try reviving the Love Connection on the show. Wouldn't that be fun? But you know me, I don't do 2 and 2. It's peace in, peace out. We're going to take a quick break. News, weather, and traffic on KCAA, NBC News Radio. Don't go away. When we come back, we're going to talk about home for the holidays and putting the fun back into family dysfunction.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course, my YouTube TV channel that houses all 1,276 podcast shows, but who's counting, over the last 656 consecutive weeks. And you know what? I'm going to give myself a little love for that. That is a long time. That's probably the longest relationship I've had is with this show, but I'm so glad that you're here. So glad that you're listening and watching now or later, and that you know this is the place to come when you want to balance out all the bad news out there with some good news. And if you haven't gone to my YouTube TV channel lately, I've separated out into categories the show so you can hear your co-hosts, you can hear topic differences, as well as my celebrity playlist, Red Carpet, my beloved Quincy Jones, who complimented me in Chinese, not once, but twice, and called me Piao Lian, which is beautiful. His soundbite from the Red Carpet is there, along with John Travolta, Halle Berry, The Temptations, you name it. I've got some super cool, interesting people that I'm grateful that I got a chance to meet in person. So check that out. And today is Monday, Mental Health Matters Mondays, where I give you some Happy 88 tools to help you claim your birthday to happiness in particular situations. And today is Home for the Holiday Blues, and specifically, how do you deal with family dysfunction? How do you put the fun back into the family dysfunction? Speaking of this, so I don't forget, because you're here on Monday, it is the Asian Oprah giveaway, is my #1 best-selling book, 8 Ways to Happiness, the audiobook version. And if you want the hard copy, you can donate $20 on my site. Part proceeds go to Habitat for Humanity and to also my 501c. I'll sign it for you and get that to you. Lots of stuff there that you can shop with for the holidays. I have a children's book, Mommy, What Are Feelings? Every feeling has a taste, touch, sight, and sound. And happy to have you donate and therefore get what you need for the holidays. But you get a free audiobook if you go to my website, drmarissa.life. You see it up there on the screen, and just put your email down and I'll send you the promo code for that free giveaway for today. All right, let's go to the topic, which is Home for the Holidays, blues, not blues, but what's the opposite of blue? I don't know, any other color than blue. We don't want you blue during the holidays. But one of the things that I get a lot in my happiness coaching practice is, I hate the holidays, which breaks my heart when someone says that. I hate the holidays. There's two things, and we dealt with grief a few weeks ago. That's one of the major reasons why people have holiday blues, is they remember all the people who have passed to the other side, and it's difficult to get to family get-togethers where they're reminded of who's missing. Now, we're not going to talk about that in detail today because I did before. Maybe I'll do it next week again for those who need a little reminder closer to holidays. But there are some tools around that. And the one that is the biggest is called Remembering Them Whole. So I'll just give you a quick 2-minute on that one. Try to remember people who are not here on the planet anymore, but they're here in spirit, here in energy. I don't like saying don't. Try to remember them in the wholeness of who they are. So not the last year that they were dying from, like my father spent 8 months suffering and dying from lymphoma. And when I think of my dad, my Chinese dad, I don't think of that. I think of the 69 years of life. Well, actually, I didn't know him for 69, but it was 2000. I'm not giving away how young I am, but for decades, I enjoyed my dad, and all of those ways in which I enjoyed him. That's what I focus on. So if you are determined to have a blue holiday because it'll be the first holiday or the 10th holiday without someone, please remember your loved one whole. And as an added incentive, I don't think they would really want you to like completely mess up an entire 2 weeks holiday by feeling bad. Honestly, I don't know anybody who would say yes. So there's the added, but remember them whole. If you do miss someone, think about a funny story and share that with your kids or your grandkids or whoever's around. All right, so that's that. That's holiday blue quickly treatment for those you miss. But let's get to family dysfunction. It's one of my favorite topics. Putting the fun back into family dysfunction. Now, what are we talking about here? You know, the first half of the show, I've got 4 minutes to relate for you. So this is both myself and my clients who will remain nameless to protect the guilty. But these are some of the things, reasons why home for the holidays is not exactly something that people are excited about going back for. One is there's that certain person who pushes all of your buttons. They get all of your goats. They see the chip on your shoulder and they poke at it and they press on it, and they know exactly what is going to make you uncomfortable, exactly what is going to set you off, and they just can't wait to do it. Sometimes it's your mother. If it's not one thing, it's your mother. If it is your mother, that's one of the most common examples that I both personally relate to and also professionally have heard. And my response usually is, besides, if it's not one thing, it's your mother, is there's only 2 times in your life when you do not have mother issues: when you're born and when you die. And those of you who have wonderful relationships with your mother, I am not insulting you. And believe me, I am super happy for you. But for many of us, mothers are well-meaning, but sometimes are more mean than well. And I don't know if it's because they'll treat you like you're 2 or 13, not the best years of your life. And they're in Pygmalion effect because they can't see you beyond who you used to be when you were in the house. That could be a reason. It could be their own personality. It could be a number of reasons, but it doesn't matter, because the reality is when you're home for the holidays, just accept that something they're going to say is going to tick you off. It's just, that's just the way it is. So I learned something very helpful. Oh, I'm not in solution yet. I've got 2 more minutes. What else? You have a sibling. Okay, so I dealt with mother. That's probably a large majority of the dysfunction that goes on when you don't want to go home for the holidays, is your mother or your father. Okay, from past experiences, from growing up in the home, wasn't the best. Healthy. 7 out of 10 of us grow up with childhood trauma. That's a huge number. That means the majority of us don't have great relationships or didn't have great relationships growing up. But you can fix this. During the holidays, believe it or not, you can. I've got 50 more seconds to stay in the problem. So I have parents and siblings. Those are probably are the majority of the family dysfunction that I hear about, whether it's sibling rivalry, brother, sister, could be cousins, could be aunts, could be uncles, could be grandparents. But the majority that I hear about in my happiness coaching practice is going home for the holidays is not fun because of either parents and relationships that were not the best, or siblings. So I'll do most of my tool application focused on those. And now it is halftime. So I can go into solution. Let's see, I can do another 5 minutes before we go on station ID. So here we go. How do you actually get excited about going home for the holidays when all you are doing is dreading having to deal with your family who do not bring out the best in you? Okay, there's the bottom line question that we are going to answer for the rest of this episode. All right. So the first thing is well, I don't know if this is the first. Let me just qualify. This may not be the first thing, but because it's not easy. Trust me, I know. Eckhart Tolle, actually, this is the first thing. Remember, Eckhart Tolle says, if you think you're enlightened, spend a week with your family. Okay. So why is that my first thing? That is my first thing, is to have an expectation that you're going to go home for the holidays and not get one button pushed is ridiculous. So if I can go into a situation knowing that it's going to most likely have some element of pushing my buttons or getting my goat, or someone's going to, flick at the chip on my shoulder, then at least I know I don't have unrealistic expectations. I'm not like fooling myself. I'm not like completely like stupid about going home for the holidays. And I don't know, when I'm in acceptance about something, it makes it easier, right? Because then when it happens, I can laugh and go, well, yeah, that's not unexpected. Okay, I'm not inviting it. Let's not go extreme here, people. Many Americans, one of the best and worst things about being American is we are all or nothing sometimes, and the world doesn't work like that. So don't overreact to what I'm saying. Okay, even though I do sometimes too. It's not all or nothing. I'm not saying that you're going to go into your holidays looking for the dysfunction, but I'm saying that if you can be okay knowing that you're probably going to get your buttons pushed, then when it does happen, you're like, oh, yeah, Dr. Marissa called it. Or, okay, well, of course it's going to happen because this is my family, right? We've always had a little difficulty around talking about blank, a little difficult talking about, or they will bring up something that you don't want to remember about your past, or they want to point out something that you really don't want to think about. When are you going to get married? When are you going to have kids? Are you still with this person? When are you going to be a couple? All of those sensitive questions that you would rather just talk to the hand are going to get asked. So if you know that there are issues, if you know that there are things that you're sensitive about, then either hide your button or come up with ways in which to soothe yourself when they get asked. Okay, and here's some ways to do that. One of the most fun ways is I call it dysfunctional bingo. And I'll get together with a friend and we will have a meal and we will have a bingo, make a bingo template that has all the things that all the buttons that we think are going to get pushed. And then we keep score and then we get together after the holidays to see who got the most markers on their bingo, and then that person pays for the meal. So I know you can actually, cheat on that because you can you make sure somebody pushes your button, but that's not the point. You know what I'm getting at. But it's a fun way of being okay with the reality that you're going to get your buttons pushed this holiday season when you go home for the holidays, and it'll give you a little way to chuckle about it instead to react about it. Okay. The second tip is to to come up with something creative. So if you look at the most common things like, oh, you've gained weight. Now, I actually have people who will say that, and it's not fun. Okay. And it will bother me, but it's up to me how long I'm going to be bothered by that. So there's the second tip. How long do you want to be pissed off if your button is pushed? This is a huge personal mastery skill because you're human. You're going to get pissed off. Someone's going to push your button somewhere. So get pissed, but can you get pissed for a short time and not have any damage that you need to clean up? I hate apologizing. So I resist the urge to insult someone when they insult me, because then I'm going to have to go back and clean it up and take responsibility for my side of the street, which I don't like doing. So I try not to. Most of the time I'm successful. If someone says to me, you look like you've gained weight, and I want to say, if I looked like you, I'd be miserable too. And that gets me in trouble. I try not to. So I don't say that. I might say it in my head, but I don't say that. I also will not say, I don't give a flying fork through a rolling donut what you think, which is also not very nice, even though I want to say it. And then I'll have to go make an amends. So what can you say if someone says to you something that just drives you crazy, like it looks like you've gained weight, right? Or you just, you're not meant to get married because another boyfriend bites the dust. That's a hurtful one. Quit bragging about yourself. You're not all that. You just can't. You're so lazy, or you another job, or why don't you have a job, or are you still trying that? These are the most hurtful things and button pushers that can possibly happen when someone is trying to get your goat during the holidays. And instead of biting back with an insult like, well, at least I'm not ugly, or at least I didn't, and then pull up something from their past. At least I didn't kick the dog. I don't know. I don't want to say something like really bad, but there's plenty of things you could bite back with. That's what we're trying to avoid. So if you're home for the holidays, somebody takes a shot at you, somebody pushes your button, resist the urge to go and push their button back, or get back at them. And that is number 2. So the first one is Eckhart Tolle's, if you think you're enlightened, spend a week with your family. Acceptance that something is going to go awry, or your button is going to get pushed. It's not going to go awry, but you're going to get your button pushed. Second is Thich Nhat Hanh. My favorite saying that he had is, if someone burns down your house, okay, arsonist comes, burn down your house, resist the urge to run after him and burn his house down. Instead, turn around and put the fire out in your house. So that's Happy 88 tip 2. Why is that important? Because you don't want to have to say sorry for burning your house down. And 2, it is your power. It's a secret. My secret skill, my secret power is being able to soothe myself. Can you soothe yourself? Can you not have knee-jerk reactions, which usually they're called knee-jerk reactions because most often you're going to look like a jerk. So it's a skill. It's a superpower to be able to soothe yourself when you get your buttons pushed. That's personal mastery. So if someone says, have you gained weight? Why are you still single? Why can't you, is it not working having kids? Anything well-meaning or not well-meaning, more mean than well, your response is for you. Okay, what response is going to make you feel better? Sometimes it's no response. But attacking the person doing that is just going to escalate and it's going to get ugly. And you don't want that in the holidays. So it's personal. You know what's going to soothe yourself. I know when my mom says, it looks like you've gained weight, I'll just smile and I'll say, it's great that you care about how I look. When I'm in a really good place, I can say that. When I'm not in a very good place, I just say, you know what? I would rather have a compliment from you. So I'm just going to go take care of something. And maybe when I come back, you'll have a compliment. Okay. She's 90. She has Parkinson's. I have a lot of compassion for her situation right now. So that's the best that I can do. I don't have to be in the same room as someone who is pushing my buttons to take more button pushing. However, I can also soothe myself enough to remember that, everybody, hurt people. And when I say that to myself, I'm much better able to not be overreactive to my button pushing during the time that I'm home for the holidays. Easier said than done. But I'm just trying to give you some ideas on how to like going home for the holidays. So that's number 2. So number 1, you remember by Eckhart Tolle. Number 2, you remember by Thich Nhat Hanh, all these global thought leaders. The last tip I'm going to give is Happy 88 tip from Dr. Marissa is, actually, this is from Law of Attraction, Abraham Hicks. Choose the best feeling thought. And I'll expand that by using the tool that I have in the book, which is turning on a dime of memories. Turning on a dime of memories. So when someone pushes your button, when there's a dysfunctional relationship, when you're at home for the holidays, try to remember the good if you can't remember the good in that person, then remember the good about the family, because there are so many good memories that far outweigh the negative memory that you hold when you think of home for the holidays. And this is one of, again, a personal mastery, takes some work. Some of you do gratitude lists, which is great. Do a gratitude list for your family. What good has been in your family. Abraham Hicks call it the list the positive aspects. And when you do that, and you pre-pave before you go home for the holidays, before you go for Thanksgiving dinner, it's only one day. It's one day out of 365 days. Do everything you can to make that day not dysfunctional, or at least put the fun in dysfunctional. So instead of dreading the holidays, usually it's more the 2 weeks or the, Christmas holiday, but Thanksgiving's like a warm up. It's a trial. It's a practice, right? For the real deal at Christmas. It's a time for us to can we really make this one different? And the reason why I wanted to talk about this too is there's some families that are really nervous about getting together on this particular Thanksgiving because of what happened in the election. And I've had people, say, I don't even want to go. I really don't want to go because I'm afraid that we're going to get into it. Well, darling, you're bigger than that fear. Fear stands for future events already ruined, number one. And y'all are bigger than the conversations you choose to have. So this is why I'm on Operation Agree to Disagree. Don't let the election and your politics ruin your family tradition of, this is the one day whoever's doing the hosting and the cooking, it's a lot of work, right? So they're obviously doing this out of the love, maybe some responsibility, but love. They're doing something that is way over and above to what they normally do to provide a place for the family to come together to share the love that you always had growing up. And growing up, even if you had dysfunction in your family, there were good times. There's always something in your family that was positive. And that's your third step. If you can pre-pave and if you can think about all the ways in which all the best memories that you had growing up, collect those, write them down, focus on them so that home for the holidays is a good thing. That you don't have to have dysfunction. You don't have to have button pushing. You don't have to have arguments. You don't have to have fights. Whoever's making the meal and is hosting, you can say, if there are people coming who, were diametrically opposed in the election, just you make the rules. Say, I want to have a happy Thanksgiving meal. Therefore, these following topics are non-negotiable. Once you cross the threshold of my home that I'm slaving in to make you have your dose of tryptophan or however you say that, I have the right to say, I don't want you all talking about politics or religion. You have the right to do that. And you can let them substitute. What we are going to be talking about is all the places that we want to travel to as a family for the rest of our lives. Let's make a bathtub list, not a bucket list. Buckets are too small for me. Bathtub list of all the places that we still haven't, what are all the places? We don't have to go together, but what are the places that we'd like to go to before we die? I don't know if you've talked about that as a family. Right? Or what are all the movies that we want to watch from now until, what are the movies I keep saying when I have the time, which I don't have, is I'm a really good movie reviewer because I love movies and I have 88% of the time really good movie suggestions that most people love, and they'll ask me, what are you watching? Because I know which ones for most people, I do the same way audiences do. I don't look at Critics, I'm not a big fan of critics. Most of the time, if they don't like a movie, I know I'm going to like it. But people ask me what I'm watching because I look at the audience, right? Most of the time, the audience really loves something. I know I'm going to love it. So talk about that. Talk about all the movies. Go through the list. Here's some movies that we didn't see, or we could see together, or we could see apart. Let's my daughter and I watch stuff together. She's in San Francisco. We'll get on the StreamYard or Zoom and watch something together. So here's a huge topic that is limitless. Instead of pontificating on our opinion about politics or religion, let's pontificate about about movies that we love to watch, right? I think there's a great library of movies from one generation that could be great to watch with the younger generation. They will actually enjoy it, and vice versa. So there are two huge topics to replace the topics that are going to be dysfunctional. So hopefully I've given you 3 positive, happy making ideas on how to take the fun and put it back into family dysfunction. It is, I do practice it, not all the time. That's why the name of the show is called Take My Advice. I'm not using it, but I do most of the time follow my own advice. But I am serious. I am hoping that you've gotten something out of this particular Mental Health Matters Mondays focus on putting the fun back into family dysfunction. Okay. So I don't have any questions from the Cashew Gallery this morning, but I do have one question that was given to me yesterday. So I'll cover that, but we're going to take a quick break for traffic and weather because this particular show is on KZAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, NBC News Radio, #1 in the IE for talk. Thank you very much. Home to the Asian Oprah. We'll be right back. Remember Chuck Woolery in 2 and 2, but I say peace in, peace out. We'll hear from a word from our sponsors, and don't go away. I'll be right back.
Take back your life.
What if conforming to the world was exploring the world? What if the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, little girl, turns into how many streets of life you want to explore? What if the purpose of life is not to die with the most toys to leave our squabbling relatives? What if the purpose of life was to do things that we enjoy most of the time? Have relationships that we enjoy most of the time? And use our unique talents, gifts, and abilities to fully express in the dash between birth and death? What if, as a direct result of this horrible pandemic, we could rise out of the ashes with a new PPP, post-pandemic possibilities? The sooner you turn "it's impossible" to "I'm possible," the what-ifs become possible too. Because you are loving, lovable, and loved, wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness. But it may start with getting out of bed and making it. What if starts with
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, AM 1050, FM 106.5, streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course, my YouTube TV channel that houses all 1,276 podcast shows. And today we're wrapping up Mental Health Matters Mondays. The specific topic is losing the holiday blues in home for the holidays and putting fun back into family dysfunction, just in case you are dreading this particular holidays because of pushing buttons or having your buttons pushed. We got into it. If you are just tuning in now, no worries. Go free subscribe to my YouTube TV channel. You get an alert every weekday morning to tune in to this live show about hope and happiness, but you will also get the replay of this particular segment. And I just want to encourage all of y'all to go check out, get tickets for this Friday night. You can join me there. I already gave the Asian Oprah giveaway tickets to John Cleese. And he is, let's see if I can get this screen shared. Here we go. He's going to be at the Saban Theater. And so excited because he's going to have a conversation. His daughter will be the moderator, and it's a live Q&A. So Saban Theaters, Dana is the manager there, has been a wonderful sponsor of the show, giving me tickets to give away. I will be there. If you do go and enjoy this, come find me. I will give you a shout out and a little interview on the red carpet. His daughter Camilla is moderating. If you don't know who Monty Python is, he's 83 now, I believe. He's just been making us laugh for the longest time, and laughter is cardio for my soul. I actually shared a stage with him decades ago in Philadelphia, but so excited to have him entertain us on Friday night. And that's it for today's episode of Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. I know that you are going to have the best week ever tomorrow. I have Jamie Lula live in studio. If you've never heard his music, I'm going to put his promo app. He did the most incredible rendition of Imagine for our 38th anniversary yesterday on stage at Agape. Wednesdays, Doctors in the House with myself and OBGYN MD Dr. Tiffany Tate. Thursday is Thanksgiving. We will be dark, so don't worry about that. Friday, not sure if we're going to be dark or not, so you'll have to, I'll let you know that tomorrow, but just keep it tuned here because this is a show about hope and happiness. I want you to be happy 88% of the time. Why not 100%? Because if you're 100% happy, you're dead. I don't want dead people watching or listening because we need the contrast. But 88% is a pretty good number. 8 is a lucky number in Chinese. It's a homophone for good fortune. As you can tell, I am as positive as you're going to get these days on the air, on camera. You saw the trailer. Please do enjoy my first short film that came out right after the pandemic, PPP, post-pandemic possibilities, if you need something to motivate you to a different life now, because life does not suck. This is Dr. Marissa reminding you it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. I'll see you tomorrow.